Adam Fantilli was on track for one of the better Blue Jackets rookie seasons in recent history, and then it was cut short due to injury. How does he come back from that? How does he avoid a sophomore slump? And who should he play with next year? That's what we're talking about on today's Locked On Blue Jackets.
You're Locked On Blue Jackets, your daily podcast on the Columbus Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Blue Jackets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am, as always, your host, Jay Foster, here to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly about your favorite team and mine, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone for making this your first listen of the day every single day. But if you're not an everydayer yet, you can find us on any podcasting platform. You can find us on YouTube, or you can find us on SiriusXM. I also have to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more, because right now new customers are going to get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And we're talking all about Adam Fantilli today. One of the more exciting players for the Blue Jackets this season, I think it's fair to say, even if he did get shut down, end of January? I think it was like 2 weeks before I was due to see the Blue Jackets in San Jose. So disappointing for me, disappointing for the team, I think, disappointing for him, certainly. Ended up playing 49 games of the 82, had 27 points, I believe it was. Yep, 12 goals, 15 assists. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about his rookie season. We're going to talk about where he goes from here, what next season should look like for him, what it probably will look more like for him, and we'll just have some fun with it, because I love to talk about Adam Fantilli. He was exactly as advertised, in my opinion. I think there was ups and downs in his rookie season, obviously. As there's going to be in any rookie season. You know, no one comes into this league perfect. And I think despite the fact that the team kept, jerking him around and moving him up and down the lineup and moving him to the wing and back to center and back to the wing and back to center, I think he performed about as well as can be expected as a 19-year-old in this league, playing random minutes, playing with random players. Like, I'll get into who he played the most with and all of that kind of stuff in a little bit. But the problem for me, again, it's the problem I've had with basically every player review that I've done, which is the coaching just wasn't. The coaching was not what Fantilli needed to get the most out of his season. When you look at Connor Bedard, for example, Connor Bedard led the league in scoring for rookies. Is gonna be a Calder winner, is my guess. He averaged 1947. He's playing top line 1C minutes in Chicago, had 61 points in 68 games. I'm not saying that Bedard and Fantilli are similar players, but Adam Fantilli, by comparison, played 1543, spent a bunch of time, again, on the wing, had 27 points in 49 games. Obviously, both players missed time with injury, but I don't know why this kid wasn't put in the absolute best position to succeed. And I know that there's like an argument there of, well, you shouldn't just throw him to the wolves immediately, but the team was bad. We weren't expecting the team to be this bad. The season was basically over by November, and I don't understand how from then it wasn't, right, season's done, let's just play the kids, because it wasn't. It was Boone Jenner plays a million minutes until he's injured, and then obviously doesn't finish the season due to personal issues, which is completely understandable and fine, and I'm not talking down on him for that, but I don't understand why the conversation every single game wasn't, let's put Adam Fantilli in the best position to succeed. Let's put him in kind of what they did with Cole Sillinger in the second half of the season, where they didn't throw him to the wolves necessarily, but he got all of the tough matchups when Jenna was out of the lineup. We got the McDavid matchup, the Crosby matchup, the McKinnon matchup, the et cetera matchups, and it was sink or swim, and for the most part he swum, and I don't understand why they were sheltering Fantilli. And sometimes he was playing on the third line, sometimes he was playing 10 minutes a game. Here you go. December 5th, Blue Jackets versus LA, 10 minutes and 11 seconds again in the game. Like, some games he had loads of ice time. So, like 1908, he played November 16th against Arizona. Sometimes he played less than that. Like, it's consistency is what I wanted. And I think probably what he wanted as well. And he didn't get it. No one on the team got it, really. We talked about that. Basically, again, in every single one of these that I've done so far has been, wow, you know what? Imagine if they'd had consistent ice time and consistent line mates. What could have been, I've just pulled it up on moneypuck.com, which is a great resource. His most used line mates were Johnny Gaudreau and Justin Danforth. He played 134 minutes with those guys. Second place was Fantilli, Voronkov, Marchenko, where he was on the wing. He played 84 minutes there. Played between Kent Johnson and Emil Bemstrom, played 52 minutes there. And then we're getting into the small things, the Line Fantilli, Texier, which he played almost 50 minutes of, but spent most of that on the wing. So again, what are we even doing here? Like, this is your future 1C. Why are you playing him at the wing? That's my biggest issue with how Fantilli was utilized this season. And despite all of this, despite the fact that I've just spent 4 minutes talking about all of the ways that he was not set up for success, I think he still did a really, really great job. Like, you see flashes of the domination that he could bring to this league if you only let him, and like, we're trying to temper our expectations here at Locked On Blue Jackets. That doesn't always work. And I think there's every chance that Fantilli could turn into another Pierre-Luc Dubois. I find it extremely unlikely, but that possibility is always there, However, you look at the way Fantilli played in this rookie season, you look at the way he, deals with the media, you look at the way he talks about the team, like both before and after he was drafted, and I don't understand why Blue Jackets fans don't jump for joy every single day when they remember that Adam Fantilli is a Blue Jacket. Because he could be the best player that the Blue Jackets have ever had. He really could. And maybe that's, sacrilege to say in light of, Rick Nash or, Sergei Bobrovsky, who's 2 wins away from a Stanley Cup and will probably be in the Hall of Fame when his career is done. But Adam Fantilli he's everything that this team hasn't had for a really, really long time. I have absolutely no issues with how Fantilli held himself during this rookie season, and every criticism I have, well, not every criticism, but almost every criticism I have is due to how he was utilized. So let's talk about how to avoid that next season. And there's some simple answers, and then there's also a little bit more complicated answers. So we'll talk about those in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I've got to tell you about Policygenius. Life insurance is stressful to think about. It's stressful to organize. There's so many different options out there. How do you know which one is right for you? And that makes sense because life is also really unpredictable. And life insurance is exactly the same, but it doesn't have to be. Policygenius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace. It makes choosing the right policy for your family easy and quick. And you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 a year for $1 million of coverage. Some of these options are 100% online, so you don't have to go anywhere. And they also let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. So again, you don't have to go to a doctor and put up with all of that. It's convenient. It's time-saving. It takes all of the stress out of trying to find the right policy for you. They can compare all of your options from America's top insurers in just a few clicks. And they have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. So get peace of mind by finding the right life insurance with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com or click the link in the description below to get your free life insurance quote and see how much you could save. Once again, that is policygenius.com. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets. We're talking about Adam Fantilli and how he can avoid or do his best, because again, some of these things are out of his control, how he can do his best to avoid the sophomore slump that we saw with Cole Sillinger and to a certain extent, Kent Johnson. I would argue that Kent Johnson's sophomore slump was less of a Kent Johnson problem, more of a Pascal Vincent problem, but that's beside the point. I fully expect, so Adam Fantilli has been out since the end of January. He got hurt in the January 28th game against the Seattle Kraken, didn't finish the game, and then didn't play again that season. So at this point, he's been off the ice for, just over 5 months, if I can do math right? 4 months. All of February, all of March, all of April, all of May, and half of June, give or take. So it's been about 5.5 months since the injury. He was not skating by the end of the season, but he was on the ice, just standing and shooting and stuff. So my guess is that he's been probably in the gym and training probably for 6 weeks or so now. I don't know if he's been skating or not. I would hope so. But unlike, when guys have end of season injuries, so like Kent Johnson, for example, had shoulder surgery 2 weeks before the end of the season. That's a 4 to 6 month recovery timeline. He is going to spend all of the summer recovering and not really have time to train. That's really tough. Fantilli has the entire season, or the entire off season, in theory, to train, get stronger. I don't know that he's going to get a lot bigger because, for a 19-year-old, he was already 6'2". Okay, 6'2", 195 pounds. I think there's probably, he can put a little bit of weight on there. I don't think he needs to put too much weight on, but he can get in the gym, he can skate, he can shoot, he can work at all of the things that he wants to do to make his game better. I'm really interested to know if he's going to be playing in the Cap City Elite League, which is the summer league that they did in Columbus last year, which was a ton of fun. And so hopefully we get to see Adam Fantilli and other Blue Jackets there again. I think that'll be really exciting. So if you're in Columbus, go and check that out when they get up and ready. But I'm fully expecting, it's a cliche. Everyone comes into training camp in the best shape of their life. They are ready to play hockey and they've never been this fit and healthy and ready to go. But Adam Fantilli is going to be about a month and a half shy of turning 20. He is going to have had an entire summer to prepare with NHL level training as well. Obviously coming straight into the league from college, he wouldn't have gone under quote unquote NHL training until he signed his ELC, which I want to say was the beginning of July, or it was 2 days before the end of June, something like that. Immediately would have gotten into the NHL level training, the facilities, the staff, etc. He's had an entire year of that and then an entire summer of that as well. So I'm fully expecting him to come out of the gate really, really strong in October to make up for lost time, to show this team that he can be that 1C. And I think that we're going to be really surprised by what we see from Adam Fantilli to start this season. I'm really, really excited for it. That being said, again, we talked about, some of the simple reasons and some of the more complicated reasons. And this isn't necessarily a more complicated reason, but it's one that's out of his control to a certain extent. And that's, what is the coaching staff going to do in terms of Boone Jenner is going to be back and ostensibly healthy for most of the season, knock on wood, we hope. In theory, Patrick Laine is going to be back if he leaves the NHLPA player assistance program. Pascal Vincent really likes Laine as a center, and that pushes someone else to the wing. That ended up being Adam Fantilli for a lot of the time. Is he going to get those reps at center that a player like Connor Bedard did? That a player like Macklin Celebrini is likely going to get in San Jose? I don't know. I just it feels like a really, and maybe this is a case of me not knowing puck or whatever, but I don't know how you properly develop your center by playing a less experienced center there instead, which is what was happening with the line A, is that he'd never played center. He played 2 games of center last season and then got injured and didn't return. And then this season he played mostly center and a little bit of wing, I believe. Adam Fantilli played center most of his junior career, and then in Michigan as well. So I don't understand. Like, that's the thing that I kept coming back to, is why are you playing? And Pascal Vincent always had some kind of great sounding, like, soundbite about how, he's going to be a really good player for a lot of years, and we're teaching him, a little bit at a time, and we don't want to overwhelm him, and he'll learn things at wing that he wouldn't learn at center, and it'll make him a more complete player. And it all sounds like excuses, quite honestly. And that's what's really annoying, is the best way for Adam Fantilli to avoid a sophomore slump is to play the entire season at center, is to stay healthy, which I'm going to knock on wood again, something that's a little bit out of his control, and consistent ice time, consistent line mates. We don't know who the coach is going to be next year. I would guess it's probably going to be Pascal Vincent. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't, but I'm not going to be surprised if it is. We'll probably get more news about that probably after the draft and after free agency. I don't feel like that's a priority right now, especially there's not a lot of coaches out there that are available. So unless Don Waddell wants to, throw a curveball into the mix, I would expect that they're going to be going with Vincent, at least to start the season. If they get to, December and this team is still in the toilet of the league, then I think Pascal Vincent might be given his marching orders, but we'll see, It's really important that Adam Fantilli gets to play in the role that he should be playing in for him to develop properly. I feel like playing him on the wing, he's going to develop lots of little habits that are not super conducive to playing at center, in a way that I feel like playing at center can sometimes make you a better winger. I don't know that playing at a wing makes you a better center. I don't really have any kind of logic or argument or evidence to support that, but I feel like it not teaches you bad habits necessarily, but I feel like there's things you can learn at center that you can extrapolate to the wing. I don't know that there's things at the wing that you can extrapolate to center necessarily. Again, maybe I'm completely wrong in that, but that's how I feel about that. The other thing, for Adam Fantilli, I talked about it a little bit there, is line mates. He needs to have the right line mates to succeed. And I have some options about who those line mates could be. We'll talk about that in just a second here on Locked On Blue Jackets. First, I'm going to tell you about FanDuel, because it's summertime, and summer means baseball. It means the NBA Finals. It means the Stanley Cup Final. And you can bet on it all at FanDuel. Right now, new customers are going to get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. Just go onto FanDuel.com and find the heaviest favorite you can, whether that's the Celtics winning in the NBA, whether that's the Angels losing a game, anything you want. Just find the heaviest possible favorite that you can, bet $5 on it, and if you win, you're going to get $200 that you can use on everything from Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and add a big win to your summer bucket list. Once again, that is FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jackets, talking about Adam Fantilli and how he can be the best he can possibly be this season. Coming back off that injury that ended his season in late January. Who should he play with? I have a bunch of options here. I think if you look at who he was the most successful with this year, then that's a really interesting conversation, because it turns out that, a small sample size, because there aren't really any big sample sizes. He played 19 minutes with Texier and Jack Roslovic and had an expected goals for percentage of 74.1%. Was playing on the wing there again, because of course he was. To get to kind of any significant ice time for him, you have to go all the way down to Voronkov and Marchenko as his line mates. Again, Fantilli on the wing. They played 84 minutes together, and he had a 51.1% expected goals percentage when those three were on the ice. I don't hate this as a combination. I think Voronkov probably plays further down in the lineup. I wonder if something like Brindley, Fantilli, Marchenko is an option. I think, like for me, anyway, the obvious thing is, and this might not stick, Brindley might need some time in the AHL to be seasoned. Like, I don't have a problem with that. But I think you start the season with Fantilli and Brindley together. You see if you can recreate that magic that they had at Michigan. It's not the whole reason that they drafted Brindley, but it's definitely in there. Is my guess. And then you just find the other winger for them. I think Gaudreau and Jenner will probably be partnered up. And then you've got Marchenko, you've got Chinikov, you've got Texier, you've got Nylander, you've got Johnson. Ostensibly, you've got Cole Sillinger, but I think, again, I like him better at center than I do on the wing. I'm going to Cap Friendly to check who I'm forgetting about while Cap Friendly still exists. I think that's most of them. That's actually most of the guys. So, like, there's a bunch of different options. But for me, Fantilli should be getting that 1C spot. At the very least, he should be getting the 2C spot because they're probably going to give Jenner the 1C spot because, of course, they are. That's like, it is what it is. I've made my peace with that. But give Fantilli top 6 center minutes, not top 6 wing minutes, top 6 center minutes. Put him with Brindley to start with, and then honestly, I think a Marchenko or a Chinikov on that wing could be pretty good. If Nylander continues the goal scoring pace that he started last season, maybe that's an option there. I'm assuming that Nylander is going to cool off because I don't know. That feels like how it always goes. A player goes on a spite heater as soon as after he gets traded, and then cools down after he's gotten paid. I don't know what the contract is going to look like yet, but that would be my guess. So maybe not Nylander. I can also see Johnny Gaudreau there as well. Although, again, like I said, my assumption is that Gaudreau and Jenner will play together. So who knows? I think my ideal option is Brindley, Fantilli, Marchenko. I think that's a really fun combination of players. I would also love to see Kent Johnson there and just do like a full Michigan forward line. Again, I think that would be extremely, extremely fun. I also wouldn't hate Line on that spot. Oh, I forgot to mention Patrick Line. He's not on the list of forwards on Cap Friendly because he's down with the injured reserve LTIR NHLPA assistance players. If he does come back and he's ready to go and he is a Blue Jacket, like I could see, Fantilli and Line had some good chemistry, but I need Fantilli to be playing in that center spot. I don't need to see Line in that center spot at the expense of Fantilli's development. And that's kind of my final thought, I think, is it doesn't really matter which wingers you give him as long as he's getting, 2 top 6 wingers, legitimate top 6 wingers. He doesn't get yanked around every single game and go up and down the lineup. And sometimes he plays 13 minutes a game. Sometimes he plays 24 minutes a game. Consistent ice time, consistent line mates, play him at center. That last one, I think, is the most important for me. If I had to pick one of those 3 things, I think playing him at center is the most important thing for Adam Fantilli next season. In terms of grade, I'm giving him an A fully. I think, again, every criticism I have with Fantilli is things that were outside of his control, which was things like ice time, things like line mates, things like being played at wing. But he gets an A from me. I'm expecting big things from Fantilli next season. I'm really, really excited to see how he does after, a full summer of NHL level training. I know he's like sunning in Italy right now, which, all right for some. It's raining cats and dogs here, but really, really excited to see how Adam Fantilli grows next season. And I think he's gonna get even better than he was last season. I think he's gonna keep getting better, and that's really, really exciting for me. And it should be exciting for every Blue Jackets fan. That's all I've got for today. Tomorrow we are going to be talking about who is next on my list. We're going to be talking about Erica Branson's season, which should be a real about face from what last season review for Gabranson was. So I'm excited to get into that. Maybe I'll listen to last season's Gabranson review, and then I can, laugh at myself about what I said last year to what I'm going to say about him this year. That's coming up on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Blue Jackets. Thank you for listening to this episode of Locked On Blue Jackets. You can find us wherever you get podcasts. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on SiriusXM. You can find me on Twitter at _Jacob Foster, JAKOBFORSTER. You can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Blue Jackets. If you have comments, questions, criticisms, you can email me at lockedonbluejackets@gmail.com. And thank you once again for listening. Until tomorrow, make sure you stay locked on.